"Mom, I need $40,000, urgently." My daughter's voice cracked through the phone. The same daughter who had moved 3 months ago and forgot to tell me. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I'm a retired bank loan officer. I spent 42 years analyzing financial desperation, and I knew exactly what was happening on that line. I sat in my kitchen chair and said something that made her go silent. "I'll think about it." Then I hung up. What happened next would expose every lie she'd told herself about our relationship, and it would cost her far more than $40,000. But to understand why I said those words with such calm precision, you need to know what those 14 days had done to me. It was 9:47 p.m. on October 3rd when I first called Sarah's number. I'd just finished watching Jeopardy! My reading glasses sat on the kitchen table next to my chamomile tea. Everything felt normal, safe. The automated voice was cold. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." My chest tightened. That metallic taste flooded my mouth. I dialed again. Slower, careful. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." I called Marcus, my son-in-law. 4 rings. Then his voice casual, almost cheerful. "Oh, hey, Helen." "Marcus, I can't reach Sarah. Her number—" "Oh yeah, we changed carriers." "Hey, actually, funny story. We moved, back in July." "July. 3 months ago." "You moved?" "Yeah, Sacramento. Marcus got transferred. Sarah forgot to update her contact list with your new number. You know her, always so scattered." The kitchen felt smaller suddenly. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. "Can I have the new number?" He gave it to me quickly, like he was eager to end the call. "Great talking to you, Helen. We'll have to have you visit sometime." Sometime. That word that means never. I didn't call the new number that night. I sat at my kitchen table until 11:43 p.m., my tea gone cold. I thought about the last time I'd seen Sarah. March 19th, 5 months ago. She'd driven down for exactly 2 hours and 17 minutes. She'd worn a white cashmere sweater. Mentioned twice it was from Nordstrom. I'd made pot roast, her childhood favorite. She'd eaten 4 bites. "Mom, you really should try eating more plant-based." I'd been making that recipe for 38 years. You know what I remember most? The way she checked her phone, every 3 to 4 minutes, like my house was a waiting room and she was anticipating her real appointment. When she left, she hugged me. Quick, efficient. "Love you, Mom. We'll do this again soon." Soon. Another word that means never. But before I continue, check if you're already subscribed to the channel and leave your like. And tell me in the comments, where in the world are you listening to my story from? I really want to know how far it has reached. I called Sarah's new number the next morning. Wednesday, October 4th at 8:23 a.m. I'd been awake since 5:30. What was unusual was the notebook in front of me where I'd started writing things down. Dates, times, details. I'd spent 42 years as a loan officer. That job teaches you patterns, red flags, the difference between someone struggling and someone lying. Sarah answered on the 6th ring. "Hello." "Hi, sweetheart, it's Mom." 2 seconds of silence. Then, "Oh, hi, Mom. How'd you get this number?" Not, "Sorry, I didn't give it to you." "How'd you get it?" Like I'd acquired classified information. "Marcus gave it to me last night." "Oh, right. We've been so busy with the move. It's been crazy." Crazy. Busy. Words people use when they mean you weren't important enough to remember. I could hear noise in the background. Sounds of her life continuing, barely interrupted by this conversation. We talked for 4 more minutes. She told me about Marcus's position, their neighborhood, a restaurant they liked. She didn't ask about me, not once. When we hung up, I added another line to my notebook. October 4th, phone call, 9 minutes. She asked 0 questions about my life. I'd started collecting evidence. Because 42 years of analyzing financial desperation taught me this. Everyone eventually needs money. Everyone eventually makes bad decisions, and everyone eventually calls the people they've been ignoring. It was only a matter of time. What I didn't know then was how soon that call would come. I didn't know Marcus's better opportunity was commission-based sales in a saturated market. I didn't know their bigger house came with a mortgage they couldn't afford. But I would learn all of that. And when I did, I would make a choice that would change everything between us. Let me tell you about the woman I used to be, before that phone call, before the notebook. I raised Sarah alone from the time she was 4. Her father, David, died in a construction accident on a Tuesday morning in 1990. One moment he was kissing us goodbye at 6:45 a.m. By 11:30 a.m., I was a widow and Sarah was fatherless. I never remarried, never dated. Every choice I made after that Tuesday was about Sarah. When she wanted piano lessons, I worked overtime for 6 months. When she needed braces, I took a second job doing bookkeeping on weekends. When she got accepted to UC Berkeley, I remortgaged the house I'd almost paid off. $43,000 in student loans, my name on every single one. Because she said, "Mom, I don't want to graduate with debt. It'll hold me back from really living." So I took the debt instead. I'm 69 years old and still paying off my daughter's education. $87.53 automatically deducted on the 15th of every month. She graduated in 2009, summa cum laude. I drove 8 hours to attend the ceremony, sat in the sun for 3 hours in my good Navy dress, watched her walk across that stage. At the celebration dinner, she introduced me to her friends, all from families with money, real money. "This is my mom," she said. Just that. Not, "My mom who worked 2 jobs," or "My mom who made this possible." No, just "This is my mom." One of her friends, Brittany, asked what I did for a living. "I'm a loan officer at Community First Bank." "Oh." Brittany's smile stayed in place, but something shifted. "That's nice." Nice. The word people use when they mean ordinary. Sarah changed the subject quickly, steered the conversation toward internships and opportunities I didn't understand. She didn't meet my eyes when I mentioned working overtime for her piano lessons. She was already pulling away. I just didn't want to see it. I didn't do those things expecting gratitude. I did them because that's what mothers do. That's what love looks like when you're the only parent left. So when did I become the mother she was ashamed of? I think I know the exact moment. Thanksgiving 2018, 7 years ago. Sarah brought Marcus home for the first time. I cleaned for 3 days, made turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, 2 kinds of pie, everything from scratch. Marcus arrived in a BMW, charcoal gray. He wore a sweater that probably cost more than my mortgage payment. He shook my hand with a grip learned in business school, firm, confident, condescending. "Great to finally meet you, Helen." Not Mrs. Patterson. Helen. I'd set the table with my good dishes, my mother's china, white with blue flowers, 41 years old, a few chips around the edges. I saw Marcus notice the chips. During dinner, he talked about his job, sales manager for a medical device company. Sarah hung on every word, laughing at the right moments, touching his arm. Then he asked about the house. "How long have you lived here, Helen?" 35 years. My husband and I bought it in 1983. Wow, long time. Have you thought about selling? This neighborhood's getting pretty rough. Property values are probably tanking. The neighborhood wasn't rough. Old, yes, working class, but not rough, and he'd been there 45 minutes. "I like it here," I said. He smiled. "The kind that says I'm being polite, but you're being foolish." Well, different strokes, I guess. After dinner, I was washing dishes. They were in the living room. I could hear them. Marcus's voice, low. "Your mom seems nice." "She is." Sarah's voice was quieter, almost apologetic. "This house, though, it's pretty dated." Silence. Then Sarah. "I know. She doesn't really care about that stuff. Must have been hard growing up here." What he meant was must have been hard growing up poor. I stood at the sink, hands in soapy water, and felt something crack inside my chest. A hairline fracture in something I'd thought was solid. Sarah didn't correct him. Didn't say, "Actually, my mom gave me everything." She just said, "Yeah, it was different. Different. Like her childhood was something to overcome. Like I was something to overcome." They left the next morning. Sarah hugged me goodbye, quick and efficient. Thanks for everything, Mom. The food was great. Great. The word you use for things that are fine but forgettable. That was when it started. The slow, careful deletion. Phone calls got shorter, visits got rarer, excuses got more creative. She got engaged 6 months later, called on a Wednesday evening, breathless with excitement. He proposed, Mom, at this amazing restaurant in Napa. There was a violinist and everything. That's wonderful, sweetheart. We're thinking spring wedding. Small, intimate, just close family and friends. I wondered if I qualified. I'd love to help, I offered. I could make your dress, like Grandma made mine. Pause. Too long. That's sweet, Mom, but I actually already have a designer in mind. Marcus's mom knows someone. Of course she did. The wedding was April 2021. 140 guests. The venue was a winery in Sonoma. Everything was white and gold and expensive. Marcus's parents paid for everything. His mother, Linda, wore a champagne-colored gown that whispered money. She kept touching Sarah's arm, calling her darling, claiming her. I wore the same navy dress from Sarah's graduation. 10 years old by then, slightly faded. The hem had started to come loose. I'd safety pinned it that morning. At the reception, I sat at a table with distant relatives I'd met once. Sarah had put me there deliberately, away from the head table, away from Marcus's family, away from her new life. I gave a speech too. 2 minutes. I'd practiced for weeks. I talked about Sarah as a little girl, about her first piano recital when she forgot the notes halfway through, about how brave she'd always been. When I finished, people clapped politely. Sarah hugged me, whispered, "Thanks, Mom." But when I looked at the wedding photos 3 months later, my speech wasn't mentioned in any of the captions, like it hadn't happened. Let me be specific about those photos. There were 237 of them. I appeared in 11. In 9, I was in the background, partially visible, cropped at the edge. In the remaining 2, I was front and center. 1 was the required mother-daughter photo. The other was me giving my speech. Sarah looked beautiful in both, radiant, happy. I looked exactly like what I was. An old woman in a faded navy dress with a safety-pinned hem, trying to fit into a world that had already decided I didn't belong. That was 3 years ago. Do you know what happened in those 3 years? But first, I need to tell you about the notebook, the one I started keeping after that phone call with Marcus. Because here's the thing about evidence. It's only useful if you know what you're collecting it for. And I was about to figure that out. The notebook started as a way to make sense of things. By October 10th, 1 week after that conversation with Marcus, it had become something else entirely. A ledger. Evidence of a pattern I'd been refusing to see for years. I kept it in my kitchen drawer, under the dish towels. Navy blue cover. Inside, my careful handwriting documented everything. October 4th, 8:23 a.m. Called Sarah. 9 minutes. She asked 0 questions about my life. Mentioned their house twice. Marcus's job 3 times. October 6th. Texted asking for her new address. She responded 7 hours later with just the street address. No, come visit. October 8th. Looked up their house on Zillow. Purchase price, $847,000. Down payment required. Minimum $169,400. Researched Marcus's company. Commission-based sales. Glassdoor reviews. Unstable income. Feast or famine. I wasn't being paranoid. I was being thorough. You know what you learn after 42 years of analyzing loan applications. Financial desperation has a smell. It starts with the big purchase that stretches the budget. Then credit cards that cover the gap. Then defensive optimism when you ask about sustainability. Marcus had that smell all over him. On October 11th, something happened that made me think I was wrong. Sarah called me. It was 2:37 p.m. on a Thursday. I was folding laundry, watching Ellen, when my phone rang. "Hi, Mom." Her voice was warm, genuine, like the old Sarah. We talked for 23 minutes, real conversation. She asked about my garden, about Mrs. Chen next door, about my Friday morning walks. She remembered details, small things I'd mentioned months ago. "Mom, I was thinking, maybe you could come visit for Thanksgiving. See the new house. We could cook together like we used to." My chest felt tight. Hope, tight. "I'd love that, sweetheart." "Perfect. I'll text you the details next week. Love you, Mom." I sat there holding my phone, feeling foolish about the notebook in my kitchen drawer. She was just busy, just adjusting to a new life. I was being oversensitive. That night, I added a new entry. October 11th. Sarah called. 23 minutes. She asked about my life, invited me for Thanksgiving. Maybe I've been wrong about everything. I let myself believe it for 6 days. On October 17th, I texted her asking about Thanksgiving plans. What time should I arrive? Should I bring anything? She responded 11 hours later. "Hey, Mom. Actually, Marcus's parents are coming for Thanksgiving. His mom already planned the whole menu. Maybe Christmas? Maybe Christmas." That word again. The word that means probably not. She'd invited me just to uninvite me. Or worse, she'd invited me knowing she'd cancel. A kindness that was actually cruelty with better packaging. I picked up my notebook, crossed out the line about being wrong, wrote instead, October 17th. Sarah canceled Thanksgiving. Marcus's parents taking priority. The invitation was never real. You know what the cruelest part was? She'd made me hope. For 6 days, I'd imagined cooking with my daughter, being part of her life again. She'd given me that hope deliberately, then taken it away with a casual text 11 hours late. That's when I stopped making excuses for her. I created a Facebook account under a fake name, Jane Morrison. Sent Sarah a friend request. "I think we met at the Riverside Farmers Market. I'd love to connect." She accepted within 2 hours. Suddenly I could see everything, all the posts she'd restricted from my real account. October 19th, Sarah posted photos from Lake Tahoe, expensive resort. Caption, "Much-needed getaway. Sometimes you just have to treat yourself." Resort rate, $489 per night. 2 nights. She couldn't make time for Thanksgiving with her mother, but she had time for a $1,000 weekend getaway. October 23rd. Sarah posted new furniture, white leather sectional. Caption, "Finally got the living room exactly how I wanted it. Thank you, Pottery Barn." I looked it up later. That sofa cost $7,200. October 26th. Sarah posted a selfie from a restaurant. New dress, emerald green, designer label. Caption, "Date night. Marcus surprised me with reservations at the Firehouse." I looked up. The Firehouse, Sacramento's most expensive restaurant. Average cost for two, $350 before wine. I wrote it all down. Every post, every purchase, every casual mention of money being spent like water, while Sarah's texts to me always included phrases like, "Things are tight right now." By October 30th, I had documented $14,740 in visible spending in 1 month. That didn't count the mortgage, the car payments, regular expenses, and I knew something Sarah didn't know I knew. Marcus's company had quarterly commission structure. October was the end of Q3. Glassdoor reviews mentioned Q4 was traditionally slow. Salespeople who'd had good Q3 numbers often crashed in Q4. Marcus and Sarah were spending like Q3 would last forever, but it was already October 30th. Only 7 more days until Q4 started, and Marcus's commission checks likely dried up. I closed my notebook, made myself tea. I sat at my kitchen table and did something I hadn't done in weeks. I smiled. Not a happy smile, something colder. Because I knew what was coming. I'd seen it 1,000 times in my career. Young couples who overspend, who buy everything at once, thinking the money will always be there. It never is. The crash comes suddenly, usually 3 to 6 months after the spending spree starts. Credit cards max out, savings empties, bills pile up faster than income, and when it comes, they panic. They call everyone they've been ignoring. They call their mothers. I had 7 days until November, probably 4 to 8 weeks until their financial reality caught up, probably 6 to 10 weeks until Sarah's phone rang with a call from a creditor. Probably 2 to 3 months until she called me, desperate, asking for money she had no right to ask for. The question wasn't whether she'd call. The question was what I'd say when she did. Sometimes we trust too much in those who don't deserve it. Have you also been disappointed by someone you loved? Share your story in the comments. I want to read you and know I'm not alone in this. November arrived cold and gray, and I waited. November came with frost on the windows and silence from Sacramento. No Thanksgiving call, no text, nothing. I spent Thanksgiving alone. November 23rd. I didn't cook a big meal. I made a chicken breast, green beans, a small sweet potato. I ate at my kitchen table at 5:17 p.m., watching the evening news. At 6:45 p.m., my phone buzzed. Sarah had posted on Facebook. I opened it on my Jane Morrison account. My hands were steady, but something cold was spreading through my chest. The photo showed Sarah's dining room. An enormous table set for 12. Crystal glasses catching candlelight. White roses. Everything gleaming and perfect. The caption read, "Hosting Thanksgiving for the first time in our new home. So grateful for family, for Marcus's amazing parents who flew in to celebrate with us, and for this beautiful life we're building together. Truly blessed. Family." She was grateful for family. Just not her actual family. Not the mother who'd raised her alone. Not the woman still paying off her student loans at 69 years old. I studied the photo. Counted the place settings. 12 people. Marcus's parents, his siblings, their friends, their new life. I wasn't even an afterthought. I was completely erased. I set my phone down, looked at my small table, my single plate, my quiet house with everything that wasn't good enough for Sarah's new life. I didn't cry. I didn't call her. I picked up my fork and finished my sweet potato. Washed my single plate, put it away. Then I opened my notebook and wrote, November 23rd. Sarah hosted Thanksgiving for 12 people. I was not invited. She posted about being grateful for family. I am not family anymore. The cold thing in my chest wasn't rage. It was something harder, something that would last longer. It was the sound of a door closing. Quiet, final, permanent. December arrived. The Facebook posts continued. December 3rd, new Christmas decorations, professional looking. Caption, getting festive, can't wait to host Christmas Eve this year. December 8th, concert, front row seats. Caption, early Christmas present from my amazing husband. December 12th, shopping bags from Nordstrom, Sephora, Williams-Sonoma. Caption, Christmas shopping is my cardio. Every post was a performance. Every photo was designed to show people how well they were doing. But I knew what I was looking at. People who spend money they don't have, buying happiness they can't afford, maintaining an image already cracking at the edges. On December 14th, I decided to reach out. One more time, one last test. I called Sarah at 10:22 a.m. She answered on the fourth ring, slightly breathless. Mom, hi, I'm actually kind of in the middle of something. I won't keep you. I just wanted to let you know I mailed your Christmas present yesterday. I'd sent her a handmade quilt, spent 6 weeks on it. Navy and white, each square from fabric that meant something. A piece from her baby blanket, a scrap from her kindergarten dress, her college dorm curtains. It was a history of her childhood. Of us. Oh, that's sweet, Mom. Thanks. Sweet. That word again. Small. Dismissive. I was hoping maybe I could visit for Christmas. I could drive up on Christmas Eve, stay through the 26th. Silence. I counted the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, Mom, we're hosting Marcus's family this year. The house is going to be pretty full. I could stay in a hotel. I'd just like to see you. It's not about space, it's just Marcus's family has all these traditions. His mom is really particular about how Christmas goes. I don't want to complicate things. Complicate things. That's what I was. A complication. I understand, I said. Perfectly calm. Have a wonderful Christmas, sweetheart. Thanks, Mom. Love you. She said it automatically, like a reflex. 2 words that meant nothing when they came that easily. I hung up. Added to the notebook, December 14th. Asked to visit for Christmas. Rejected. Sarah chose Marcus's family traditions. I am a complication. 3 days later, December 17th, I saw something that changed everything. I was scrolling through Facebook at 3:47 p.m. Sarah had posted a video, 43 seconds long. The video showed their living room, that white leather sofa, a massive Christmas tree covered in matching ornaments. Sarah was filming, her voice bright and performative. "Marcus, show them what you got me." The camera panned to Marcus holding up a jewelry box, Tiffany blue, unmistakable. "Early Christmas present," he said, grinning. Sarah squealed. The camera shook as she set it down, then rushed to Marcus. He opened the box. Diamond bracelet. "Oh my God, Marcus, this is insane." "Only the best for my wife," he said. Smug. She put it on, held her wrist up to the camera. "Isn't it gorgeous? I literally can't believe this is mine." The caption read, "Some men are just built different. I'm the luckiest woman alive." I looked up the bracelet later. Tiffany & Co. Diamond Victoria Line bracelet. $12,800. Let me be very clear about what this meant. They were hosting Christmas for 12 people. They had an $847,000 mortgage. They were buying designer furniture and concert tickets and expensive dinners. And now Marcus had just spent nearly $13,000 on a bracelet. While Sarah told me she couldn't make room for her mother because things were complicated, I looked at my own wrist. Bare except for the simple watch David had given me on our 5th anniversary, 43 years ago. It didn't keep time anymore, but I wore it anyway. Worth maybe $40. I looked back at my phone, at Sarah's wrist, sparkling with $12,800. And I felt my face do something strange. My lips pulled back. Not quite a smile. Something colder, sharper. Because now I knew, without any doubt. Sarah wasn't just busy. She wasn't just overwhelmed. She was ashamed of me. And she was spending money she didn't have to prove she'd escaped the life I'd given her. I picked up my notebook. My hand didn't shake. December 17th. Marcus gave Sarah a $12,800 bracelet. They cannot afford room for me at Christmas, but they can afford diamonds. Total documented spending since October 1st, $34,480. Q4 commission reports typically arrive mid-January, approximately 4 weeks until financial reality hits. I closed the notebook, made myself tea, sat at my kitchen table in my small, simple, uncomplicated house. And I waited, patient, calm, cold. Because here's what Sarah didn't understand. Here's what people who've never struggled never understand. Money runs out. Credit limits get reached. Bills come due. And when the pretty life starts cracking, people get desperate, and desperate people call their mothers. Not because they love them, not because they miss them, but because mothers are supposed to forgive everything. Mothers are supposed to save them. That's what Sarah was counting on. That no matter how badly she treated me, no matter how completely she erased me, I would be there when she needed something. She was right. I would be there when she called. But what she didn't know was that the mother who would answer that phone would not be the mother she remembered. I'd spent 42 years analyzing financial disasters. I knew exactly how this would end. I knew the timeline. I knew the pattern. And I knew that in approximately 4 weeks, my phone would ring. Sarah's voice would crack with desperation, and she would ask me for money she had no right to ask for. The question she should have been asking herself was different. The question was, would I say yes? But Sarah never asked the right questions. That was always her problem. Only 23 days left until she found out the answer. Christmas came on a Monday, December 25th. I woke at 6:47 a.m., same as every day, made coffee, sat at my kitchen table. I'd put up a small tree, 4 feet tall, artificial, the same one I'd used for 15 years. White lights, red ornaments, a gold star on top that Sarah had made in 2nd grade. Under the tree sat one present. For me, from me, a new cardigan from Macy's, navy blue, on sale, $23. At 9:15 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Merry Christmas, Mom. Hope you're having a good day. Love you." I stared at that message for a full minute. She hoped I was having a good day, alone. While she hosted 12 people in Sacramento, wearing her $12,000 bracelet. I typed back, "Merry Christmas, sweetheart. Enjoy your day." I didn't say, "I love you" back. It felt dishonest. At 11:33 a.m., she posted on Facebook. I watched it on my Jane Morrison account. The photo showed her dining room, that enormous table laden with food, 12 people smiling at the camera, Sarah in the center, holding a wine glass, Marcus's arm around her waist. The caption, "Grateful beyond words for this chosen family and this beautiful life. Merry Christmas from our home to yours. Chosen family. Not born family. Like family was something you auditioned for, and I hadn't made the cut." I set my phone down, picked up my coffee. It had gone cold. Then I did something I'd been planning for 3 days. I opened my laptop, logged into my personal Facebook account, and I commented on her Christmas post. "Beautiful photo, Sarah. I'm spending Christmas alone, but I'm so glad you're surrounded by family. Merry Christmas to you and your chosen family." I hit post before I could second-guess myself. The comment sat there, public, visible, slightly poisonous in its politeness. 17 minutes later, the comment was gone, deleted. 22 minutes after that, my phone rang. "Sarah." I let it ring 4 times before answering. "Mom." Her voice was tight, angry. "What was that comment?" "What comment?" "You know what comment, about spending Christmas alone." "I was just stating a fact, sweetheart. I am spending Christmas alone. You're trying to make me look bad, in front of Marcus's family. I'm not trying to make you look like anything. I'm just your mother. Who's alone? On Christmas." Silence. I could hear voices in the background, laughter, music, the sounds of her chosen family celebrating. "Mom, I told you we were hosting Marcus's family. You did. You explained that I'm a complication, that there's no room for me in your new life. I understood perfectly. That's not... You're twisting things." "Am I? Tell me, Sarah, when did you decide I wasn't good enough for your life?" "Mom, that's not fair. Was it when you met Marcus? When you saw his parents' money? Or was it graduation when your friends looked at me and you saw me through their eyes? I'm not having this conversation right now. I have guests." "Of course you do. Chosen family." "I deleted it because you were being passive-aggressive and hurtful." I laughed, a short, sharp sound. I was being hurtful. "Sarah, you moved and didn't tell me. You changed your number. You canceled Thanksgiving. You told me I couldn't come for Christmas. And I'm the one being hurtful? I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it?" Silence. Long. Heavy. "I have to go, Mom. We'll talk later." "Will we? Or will you send a text in 3 weeks saying you've been busy?" "Goodbye, Mom." She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, my hand steady, and I smiled. That cold smile that was becoming familiar. Because I'd just shown her I wasn't going to be quiet anymore. That I wasn't going to accept being erased with polite silence. I opened my notebook. Wrote, December 25th. Sarah sent obligatory Christmas text. Posted about chosen family. I commented publicly. She deleted it and called, angry. First crack in her perfect image. Approximately 3 weeks until financial crisis. While I'm telling you all this, I wonder where you might be listening to me. Write your city's name in the comments. I'd love to know where my words are reaching. The week between Christmas and New Year's was quiet. No calls, no texts. Sarah posted nothing on Facebook. Radio silence. But I knew what silence meant. It meant she was angry. It meant the gap between us was widening. Good. Wide gaps are easier to see. On January 2nd, I saw the first crack in their financial facade. Sarah posted a photo of her and Marcus at a New Year's Eve party. Fancy, formal wear. But I noticed something in the background. A stack of mail on their entry table. I zoomed in. Enhanced the image. 3 envelopes. Return addresses barely visible. Capital 1. Discover, chase, Credit card companies, the ones that come when you've missed a payment or exceeded your limit. It was starting. January 4th. I was at the grocery store when I checked Facebook. Sarah had posted 23 minutes earlier. Anyone know a good financial advisor in the Sacramento area? Looking for someone to help with budget planning and long-term strategy. Please DM recommendations. I read it 3 times. Each time, that cold smile got wider. Budget planning. Long-term strategy. Words people use when they mean, we're in trouble. She'd asked publicly, which meant she was desperate enough to admit something was wrong. One comment stood out. From Marcus's sister, Jen. Everything okay? Call me if you need to talk. Sarah's response. All good, just being proactive. New year, new financial goals. Proactive. The word people use when they mean reactive. I paid for my groceries, drove home. Then I sat at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. I searched for Marcus's company, found their Q4 earnings report, posted January 3rd. The report was bad. Revenue down 23% from Q3. Commission structures being reevaluated. Translation: Marcus's paychecks were shrinking. Fast. I pulled up a mortgage calculator, entered their home price, estimated their down payment. Minimum monthly payment, $5,247. Added utilities, food, car payments, insurance, basic living expenses. Conservative estimate, $8,500 per month minimum. Marcus's Q3 income, probably $12,000, $15,000 per month. His Q4 income, probably $6,000, $8,000 per month. They were short, significantly short, and they'd been spending like Q3 would last forever. The credit card envelopes made sense now. They'd been covering the gap with plastic. But plastic runs out. I opened my notebook. Wrote, January 4th. Sarah posted asking for financial advisor recommendations. Marcus's company Q4 report shows 23% revenue decline. Estimated monthly shortfall, $2,500, $4,000. Timeline adjusted, approximately 10-14 days until crisis call. I closed the notebook, sat in the quiet of my kitchen. 10 to 14 days. Less than 2 weeks until Sarah called me, desperate, asking for money she thought I'd give her just because I was her mother. Less than 2 weeks until she found out exactly what chosen family really meant. I made myself lunch, turkey sandwich, apple slices. I ate slowly, methodically, tasting nothing. And I waited, patient as winter. The call came sooner than I expected. January 10th, Wednesday, 3:42 p.m. I was folding laundry, watching Law & Order, when my phone rang. Sarah's name on the screen. I let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Watched her name flash. Felt my heartbeat stay perfectly calm. On the 4th ring, I picked up. Hi, sweetheart. Mom. Her voice cracked immediately, broken. Mom, I need to talk to you about something. I muted the television. What's wrong? It's, God, this is so hard to say. Mom, we're in trouble, financial trouble. Marcus's commission got cut by 60%. We thought it was temporary, but it's not. And we're drowning. 60%. Worse than I'd calculated. I'm so sorry, honey. That must be incredibly stressful. It is. Mom, we're 3 months behind on the mortgage. The bank is calling every day. We maxed out all our credit cards. We even borrowed from Marcus's parents, but that's gone and I don't know what to do. 3 months behind. December, November, October. They'd been in trouble since before Thanksgiving, since before she canceled on me, since before Christmas when she posted about her chosen family. All of it had been a lie. A performance. How much do you need? I asked. My voice was gentle, concerned. 40,000. She said it fast, like ripping off a bandage. I know it's a lot, but if we can just catch up on the mortgage and pay down the credit cards, we can get back on track. Marcus has leads on a new position. We just need to get through the next few months. $40,000, more than half my annual retirement income. That's a significant amount, Sarah. I know, and I wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate. But you're the only person I can turn to. Marcus's parents already helped. You're my only option. Your only option. Not my mother who I love. Your only option. The last resort. Can I think about it? I asked. Silence. Shocked silence. Think about it? Mom, they're threatening foreclosure. We could lose the house. I understand. It's just, that's my entire savings, Sarah. Everything I have for emergencies. I need to consider this carefully. Carefully? Her voice rose. Panic bleeding into anger. Mom, this is an emergency. You're really going to make me wait while you consider it carefully? There it was. The entitlement. The assumption that my money was her money. I'll call you tomorrow, I said calmly. I need time to think. Mom, tomorrow, Sarah, I promise. I hung up before she could respond. Then I sat on my couch and I let myself feel it. All of it. The rage, the hurt, the bitter satisfaction of being right. My hands shook. My eyes burned. But I didn't cry. Not yet. First, I had work to do. I opened my laptop, started writing everything I knew, every post, every expense, every lie. October-December spending, $34,189 on luxuries while claiming money was tight. December 17th, $12,800 bracelet purchased while excluding mother from Christmas. 3 months behind on mortgage by January 10th. Trouble started in October. I did the math. Every single expensive purchase I'd documented had been bought while they were already drowning. They'd been spending money they'd already lost. I picked up my phone, dialed a number I hadn't called in 15 years. Margaret Chen answered on the second ring. My old colleague from the bank, retired financial consultant. Hi, Margaret. I need advice. We talked for 47 minutes. I told her everything. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Helen, you know what this is, right? This isn't bad luck. This is financial recklessness with a safety net. And you're the safety net. I know. If you give her this money, she'll burn through it in 6 months and be right back here. And you'll have shown her that no matter how badly she treats you, you'll save her. Do you understand what that teaches her? I do. So what are you going to do? I looked around my small living room. Everything Sarah had been ashamed of. I'm going to say no, I said. The words felt strange, foreign, wrong in some deep way that mothers aren't supposed to refuse their children, but also right. Finally right. Good, Margaret said firmly. Document everything, every conversation, every text. Because if she's desperate enough, she might try to make you look like the villain. We hung up. I sat in the growing darkness. Then I opened a new document and started writing. Everything. The complete record. Dates. Screenshots. Bank statements. Evidence. I worked until 11:37 p.m. And in the middle of writing, I found something I'd missed. Sarah's Facebook post from October 29th. A selfie. The caption. Big career news coming for Marcus. Can't share details yet, but we're so excited. Sometimes you have to take risks to build the life you want. Taking risks. I searched Marcus's LinkedIn. Posted October 28th. Excited to announce I'm transitioning to a new sales opportunity with expanded territory and unlimited earning potential. Transitioning. Unlimited potential. Sales language for I quit my stable job for a commission-only position. I sat back, stared at the screen. He'd quit. He hadn't been transferred. Marcus had voluntarily left a steady position for a riskier one. In October. Right before Q4. The historically slowest quarter. Then they'd spent $34,489 in 2 months on luxuries, anticipating income that never materialized. This wasn't bad luck. This was arrogance, greed, stupidity. And now Sarah wanted me to fix it with my entire savings. I added to my document. October 28th. Marcus quit stable job for commission-only position. They knew income would be unstable. They spent anyway. This was not misfortune. This was choice. At 11:52 p.m., I closed my laptop, went to my bedroom, lay in the dark. And that's when I finally cried, silent tears sliding down my face into my pillow. because I knew what I had to do tomorrow, and I knew Sarah would hate me for it. But I also knew that for 47 years, I'd made every choice for her, every sacrifice. I'd given her everything, and she'd taken it all and decided it wasn't enough, that I wasn't enough. She'd erased me from her life, made me a complication, and now she wanted more. Well, she couldn't have it. I fell asleep at 1:23 a.m., my pillow damp, my decision made. When I woke Thursday morning, January 11th, at 6:47 a.m., something had changed. In me. I made coffee, made breakfast. Then I picked up my phone at 9:15 a.m. and called Sarah back. She answered immediately. "Mom, did you think about it?" I did. "And?" I took a breath. "No, Sarah, I'm not giving you the money." Silence, complete, absolute. "What?" "I'm saying no. I can't give you $40,000. Can't or won't?" "Won't." "Mom." Her voice was shaking, anger, disbelief. "Mom, I'm about to lose my house, and you're refusing to help me?" "I'm not refusing to help you, Sarah. I'm refusing to enable you." "Enable me? What the hell does that mean?" "It means you spent over $34,000 between October and December on luxuries while you were already 3 months behind on your mortgage. It means Marcus quit his stable job for a riskier position, and you celebrated it. It means you made choices, bad choices, and now you want me to fix them. Were you stalking me?" "I was paying attention. Something you never did with me." "This is insane. You're punishing me because your feelings are hurt? This is my life, my actual life." My hand tightened on the phone. "You excluded me from Thanksgiving, from Christmas. You moved and didn't tell me. You posted about chosen family while I spent Christmas alone. And now, when you need money, suddenly I'm family again. That's not a petty grudge, Sarah. That's a pattern. I was busy, I made mistakes. But you're really going to let me lose everything because of that?" "I'm not letting you lose anything. Your choices are letting you lose things. I'm just refusing to save you from the consequences. I can't believe my own mother would do this to me." And there it was, the guilt, the manipulation that had worked my entire life. But not anymore. "Goodbye, Sarah." "Mom, wait." I hung up, set the phone down, and exhaled. Long, slow, final. It was done. Tomorrow, the real consequences would begin. The phone started ringing again at 9:47 a.m. "Sarah," I didn't answer. It rang again at 10:12 a.m., again at 10:35 a.m., again at 11:08 a.m. Each time I watched her name flash. Each time I let it go to voicemail. At 11:52 a.m., the first voicemail came through. I listened on speaker, standing in my kitchen. "Mom, please pick up. I know you're angry with me. I know I've hurt you, but please, we can talk about this. Just call me back, please." Her voice was desperate, broken. I deleted it. The second voicemail came at 1:34 p.m. Different tone. Anger seeping through. "Mom, I don't understand what you're doing. I'm your daughter, your only child. How can you just abandon me like this? After Dad died and you raised me alone, don't you think you owe me something?" Owe her. Interesting word choice. I deleted that one too. At 3:17 p.m., my phone rang again. Not Sarah. Marcus. I answered. "Hello, Marcus." "Helen." His voice was tight, controlled. "We need to talk about this situation." "What situation is that?" "Don't play games. Sarah is devastated. She can barely function. And you're punishing her for what? For being busy? Is that what she told you? That she was just busy? She told me you're holding a grudge because she couldn't make time for holidays, which is petty and cruel. We're about to lose our house, and you're making this about hurt feelings." I sat down at my kitchen table, traced the wood grain with one finger. "Marcus, did you know I spent Christmas alone?" "Sarah explained that. We were hosting my family. There wasn't room." "You have a 4-bedroom house. I checked the listing." Silence. Brief, uncomfortable. It wasn't about physical space. Look, my parents have expectations. Sarah was trying to make a good impression. So I'm an embarrassment. That's not... Helen, you're twisting things. We need help. $40,000. You have it. We need it. This isn't complicated. You're right. It's not complicated. You quit your stable job for a riskier position. You spent over $30,000 on luxuries while you were already behind on your mortgage. You made bad choices. And now you want me to fix them. How do you know about... Have you been spying on us? I've been paying attention, something neither of you bothered to do with me. This is insane. You're really going to let your daughter lose her house because of some Facebook posts? I'm not letting Sarah lose anything. You're losing it. You and her, together, with your choices. Listen to me very carefully, Helen. His voice went cold, threatening. If you don't help us, Sarah will never forgive you. You'll lose your daughter forever. Is that what you want? I smiled, that cold smile that was becoming mine. Marcus, I lost my daughter months ago. Maybe years ago. I just didn't realize it until recently. So threatening me with losing something I don't have anymore? That doesn't work. You're a bitter old woman. The words came fast, vicious. Sarah was right about you. She said you'd use money to control her. Goodbye, Marcus. I hung up, set the phone down gently. My hands weren't shaking. My breathing was steady. My chest felt clear, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. The phone rang again immediately. Marcus. I declined the call, blocked his number. Then I called my bank, asked for my account manager, Tom Rodriguez. Helen, good to hear from you. What can I do for you? Tom, I need to put a freeze on my accounts, all of them, checking, savings, everything. A freeze? Has there been fraudulent activity? No. Preventative measure. I need to make sure no one can access my accounts except me. We can absolutely do that. Yes. And if anyone calls asking about my accounts, my daughter Sarah or her husband Marcus, you tell them nothing. Understood. I'll add a note to your file. Thank you, Tom. We hung up. I sat feeling something close to relief, because I knew what came next. Desperate people make desperate attempts. They show up unannounced. They try to access accounts. They escalate from begging to threatening to crying. But I was ready. At 6:43 p.m., Sarah texted me. No words. Just a photo. A foreclosure notice. Final notice. Property foreclosure proceedings will begin February 1st unless payment of $15,541 is received by January 20th. 9 days. She followed it with a text. This is what you're doing to me. This is what your pride costs. I hope you're happy. I looked at that photo for a long time, read every word. Then I typed back, I'm sorry you're going through this. I hope you find a solution. I didn't say, I'll help. I said what I meant. Her response came 30 seconds later. You're not my mother anymore. You're just a cruel stranger who looks like her. Don't ever contact me again. I read it twice, felt it land like a punch, like an ending. Then I typed, okay. One word, simple, final. I set my phone down, made myself dinner, chicken breast, steamed broccoli. I ate slowly, tasting nothing. At 8:15 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number, Sacramento area code. I answered. Hello? Is this Helen Patterson? A woman's voice. Professional. Clipped. It is. This is Linda Ashford, Marcus's mother. I believe we need to have a conversation. I sat up straighter. The matriarch was getting involved. What can I do for you, Linda? You can explain why you're refusing to help your daughter. Sarah called me in tears today. Is that true? It is. May I ask why? That's between me and Sarah. I don't think so. Linda's voice went sharp, entitled. When my son's marriage is affected, when their future is threatened, it becomes my business. Your son quit his stable job for a riskier position. He and Sarah spent recklessly. Those choices have consequences. I'm not obligated to shield them. They made one mistake. One. And you're going to let that destroy their lives? One mistake? Linda, they bought a $12,000 bracelet while they were 3 months behind on their mortgage. That's not one mistake. That's a pattern. Silence. Then, how do you know about the bracelet? I pay attention. You mean you spy on them? You stalk their social media? I watch my daughter's public posts. Public, including the posts about chosen family. The posts that erased me completely until she needed money. Sarah says you're holding a grudge. That she forgot to tell you about the move and you're punishing her. Linda, let me ask you something. If Marcus moved and didn't tell you for 3 months, would you consider that forgetting? Silence. Longer this time. That's different. We're close. Exactly. You're close. Because he includes you. He values you. Sarah does all of those things for you too, doesn't she? You had Thanksgiving together. Christmas. You're part of her chosen family. So you're just going to abandon her? Let her lose everything? I raised her alone from age 4. I worked 2 jobs. I remortgaged my house for her education. I gave her everything. And she gave me back exactly nothing. No time, no inclusion, no respect, just embarrassment and erasure. So yes, Linda, I'm going to let her experience consequences, just like you'd let Marcus experience them if he treated you the way Sarah treats me. That's not... She stopped. I could hear her breathing, recalibrating. What if I paid you back? What if this was a loan with interest? No. Helen, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. You be honest. Would you give $40,000 to someone who erased you from their life? No answer. That's what I thought. Goodbye, Linda. I hung up, blocked her number. Then I sat in my quiet house and waited for what came next. Because it wasn't over. Not yet. Desperate people don't give up after 3 tries. They escalate. They find new angles, and I was ready for all of it. Only 9 days left until the foreclosure deadline. Only 9 days until Sarah either found the money somewhere else or lost the house she'd valued more than her mother. Either way, she'd learned something. The question was, what? January 15th arrived cold and gray. Monday morning. 5 days until the foreclosure deadline. I was watering my plants at 10:23 a.m. when I heard a car pull into my driveway. I looked out my living room window. Sarah's car. She was walking toward my front door, movements fast, agitated. She wore jeans and an oversized sweater. No makeup. She looked exhausted, desperate. This was it, the final confrontation. I opened the door before she could knock. We stood there looking at each other, mother and daughter, strangers. Can I come in? Her voice was hoarse. I stepped aside. She walked past me into the living room. She stood in the middle, looking around like seeing it for the first time. The worn furniture, the outdated curtains, the simple life she'd been ashamed of. I drove 4 hours to get here, she said finally. You should have called first. Would you have answered? No. She flinched. Mom, please, I'm begging you, I need that money. I know. Then why won't you help me? I sat down in my armchair, gestured to the couch. Sit down, Sarah. She sat, perched on the edge, tense. Do you know what tomorrow is? I asked. She blinked. Tuesday? It's January 16th. Your father's funeral was January 16th. Tomorrow will be 35 years. She went very still. Mom, You were 4 years old. You wore a black velvet dress. I promised I would take care of you, that you'd never be alone, that I would be enough. Tears started sliding down her face. And I kept that promise, didn't I? I worked 2 jobs. I gave you everything. I know, she choked out. Then tell me, Sarah, when did I stop being enough? When did you decide the life I gave you was something to be ashamed of? She covered her face with her hands. Her shoulders shook. I waited. Finally, she lowered her hands. I don't know when it happened. I met Marcus and his family, and they had everything. Money, status, and I wanted that. And you reminded me of where I came from, and I was ashamed. I was so ashamed, and I hate myself for it, but I was. Truth. Finally. Thank you for being honest, I said quietly. So you'll help me, now that you understand? No. Her face crumpled. Mom, please. What more do you want? I want you to understand consequences, real consequences. So you're punishing me. No, Sarah, I'm teaching you, something I should have done years ago. I stood up, came back with my navy blue notebook, opened it. October 3rd through January 10th. I documented everything, every post, every purchase, every lie. I showed her the pages, the screenshots, the calculations. Her eyes went wide. You've been spying on me? I've been paying attention. There's a difference. You spent $34,000 between October and December while you were behind on your mortgage. Marcus quit his job voluntarily. You posted about chosen family on Christmas while I ate alone. You weren't busy. You were ashamed. She was shaking now. Mom, I made mistakes, but please, tell me, Sarah, truly. If you had a daughter who erased you from her life, who valued a bracelet more than your presents at Christmas, would you give her $40,000? She opened her mouth, closed it. No answer came, because she knew. I can't lose this house, she whispered. It's everything to me. More than I was? That's not fair. Isn't it? You had a choice, Sarah. Every time. You chose that house, that life, that image. You chose everything except me. She was crying harder now, gasping. What do you want me to do? I'll do anything. I want you to feel it, really feel it, the weight of your choices. I want you to know you destroyed something irreplaceable. Not your house, Sarah. Us. You destroyed us. And no amount of money can fix that. So that's it? You're just going to let me lose everything? You're not losing everything. You're losing a house, a thing. I lost my daughter. Tell me, Sarah, which loss is bigger? She stared at me, and in that moment I saw it. Understanding. Real understanding. Mom, she breathed, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I know you are. I believe you. But sorry doesn't fix this. Then what does? What can I do? I closed my notebook. Nothing. There's nothing you can do. Some things once broken stay broken. Some people once hurt deeply enough don't heal just because you finally apologized. So you hate me? No. And I meant it. I don't hate you. I don't feel much of anything anymore. That's worse, isn't it? If I hated you, there'd still be something. But this is just done. She stood up abruptly, started pacing. There has to be something. I'll call every week. I'll visit, whatever you want. I don't want performances, Sarah. I wanted a daughter. I had one once. But she disappeared somewhere between college graduation and a $12,000 bracelet. The woman standing in my living room, she's a stranger who happens to share my DNA. Stop it. Stop talking like we're dead. Aren't we? The question hung in the air. Heavy. Final. Sarah looked small suddenly. Young. Like the little girl in the black velvet dress. But she wasn't that little girl anymore. I need to go, she whispered. Okay. She walked to the door. Stopped. When I lose the house, will you at least answer if I call? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said finally. I don't think I will. Her face did something complicated. Pain, anger, acceptance. I love you, Mom. I know. That's the saddest part. I know you do. You just don't know how to show it in any way that matters. She left. The door closed with a soft click. I heard her car start, heard the engine fade, then silence. My phone buzzed once, a text from Sarah. I'll find a way to fix this, I promise. I'll spend the rest of my life proving I'm sorry. I read it 3 times. Then I turned off my phone. The foreclosure deadline came and went, January 20th. I didn't call, didn't check Facebook. On January 23rd, Margaret called me. Helen, I have news. They filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 13. They'll keep the house, but they're paying it off for years at higher interest, and they'll have bankruptcy on their record for 7 years. I absorbed this. Felt nothing, just curiosity. What about Marcus's parents? They refused to help again. Linda apparently told them they needed to learn responsibility. Your conversation with her must have made an impact. I smiled slightly. Interesting. There's more. Sarah's Facebook is gone. And Marcus changed jobs, back to a stable position, Lower pay, but guaranteed salary. Good. That's good for them. Are you okay, Helen? I am. Surprisingly, I am. We hung up. I felt lighter. Not happy, not vindicated, just unburdened. Sarah had learned her lesson. Not budget better or don't overspend. She'd learned that actions have consequences, that people have limits, that love, even mother's love, can be exhausted by neglect and cruelty. It was the hardest lesson I'd ever taught her. And the last one. 3 weeks later, on February 12th, I got a letter. Handwritten, Sarah's handwriting. I held it for 5 minutes before opening it. Inside, 3 pages. It started, "Mom, I know you said there's nothing I can do, but I need to try anyway." I read it all. The apologies, the explanations, the promises, the grief. At the end, she wrote, "I understand if you never want to see me again, but I need you to know. You were always enough. Always. I was the one who wasn't. I was the one who failed. And I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it." I folded the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope, set it on my kitchen table, and I thought, maybe, someday, years from now, maybe, but not today, not tomorrow, not until she'd proven with years of different choices that she'd actually changed, not until the bankruptcy was paid off and the expensive life was gone and she'd learned to value people over things, not until she understood, bone deep, what she'd lost. Maybe then, but probably not. Some doors, once closed, stay closed forever. It's been 11 months since that day Sarah sat in my living room and I told her we were done. 11 months since I closed a door I'd kept open my entire adult life. I'm 70 now. Had a birthday in June. Quiet day. Margaret took me to lunch. We had soup and sandwiches at the diner on 4th Street. She gave me a book, a mystery novel I'd mentioned wanting to read. Simple, perfect, no call from Sarah, no text, no card. I didn't expect one. But I noticed the absence anyway. Some habits are hard to break. My house is quieter now, but it's not lonely. There's a difference I'm learning to appreciate. Lonely is wanting someone who isn't there. Quiet is being content with your own company. I've started painting. Watercolors. Nothing fancy. Flowers mostly. Trees. The view from my kitchen window. Margaret says I'm good at it. I think she's being kind, but I don't care. It fills the hours. Gives my hands something to do besides reaching for a phone that won't ring. I joined a book club at the library. 6 women, all around my age. We meet every other Thursday. We talk about books and gardens and grandchildren some of us have and some of us don't. Nobody asks why my daughter doesn't visit. Nobody makes me explain. I exist there without backstory, without failure, without the weight of being not enough. It's surprisingly freeing. Last week, I was at the grocery store, and I saw a woman with her daughter. The daughter was maybe 30. They were shopping together, laughing over something on the daughter's phone. Easy, natural, the kind of relationship I used to imagine Sarah and I would have someday. I watched them for a moment, felt that familiar ache in my chest. Not grief anymore, just recognition. Of something I'd wanted and never got. Of something I'd tried to build and watched crumble. Then I turned down a different aisle and continued my shopping. Because here's what I've learned. You can mourn what never was without letting it destroy what still is. I still have a life. Small, simple, uncomplicated. The life Sarah was ashamed of, but it's mine. And it's enough. Some people would say I was too hard on her, too unforgiving, that mothers are supposed to be endless wells of mercy and second chances. Maybe they're right. Maybe I should have given her the money. Maybe I should have answered her calls. Maybe I should have read that letter and called her back and said we could start over. Maybe. But I think about Margaret's words from that phone call 11 months ago. If you give her this money, you'll be enabling her. She'll learn that no matter how badly she treats you, you'll save her. And I think about something else. Something I never told Sarah. Something I've never told anyone. When David died 35 years ago, his life insurance paid out $87,000. enough to pay off the house, cover funeral expenses, and have a cushion for emergencies. I used every penny for Sarah, the house, her education, her opportunities, everything. The $40,000 she asked for? That was my entire remaining savings, built slowly over 35 years from a modest salary and careful living. It was my security, my safety net, my entire cushion for the next 20 years of life. If I'd given it to her, I would have had nothing. At 70 years old, no savings, still paying off her student loans, I would have had nothing. And she knew that. She knew I lived modestly. She knew I wasn't wealthy. She asked anyway, because she believed, truly believed, that my comfort mattered less than hers, that my security was expendable if it meant maintaining her image, that I existed to be a safety net for her mistakes. That's not love. That's exploitation wearing love's mask. So no, I don't think I was too hard. I think I was exactly hard enough. Finally. 35 years too late, but hard enough. The letter Sarah sent is still on my kitchen table. I haven't thrown it away. Haven't responded either. It sits there, yellowing slightly in the sunlight that comes through my window every afternoon. Sometimes I pick it up, read pieces of it. You were always enough. Always. I was the one who wasn't. She got it backward, of course. I wasn't always enough. Not for her. Not once she saw what else was available. Not once Marcus's family showed her a different kind of life. But I was enough for me. That's what I'm learning. I was always enough for me. I just forgot, because I spent so long trying to be enough for her. I still wonder if I did the right thing. And you, what would you have done in my place? Tell me in the comments. I truly want to know what you think. Last month, October 3rd, was the 1-year anniversary of that phone call with Marcus. The one where I learned Sarah had moved and forgotten to tell me. The beginning of everything that came after. I marked the date in my calendar. Not to celebrate, not to mourn, just to acknowledge. 1 year of a different life. 1 year of being nobody's safety net, nobody's backup plan, nobody's afterthought. 1 year of being just Helen, not Sarah's mother, not David's widow, not the woman who wasn't good enough for the life her daughter wanted. Just Helen. And you know what? Helen is okay. Helen is learning to be more than okay. She paints watercolors and reads mystery novels and has friends who don't need her to be anything except present. She lives in a small house with outdated curtains and chipped dishes. She drives a 15-year-old car and shops at discount stores and has never owned anything from Nordstrom. And she's content. Surprisingly, impossibly content. Because here's the thing about closing doors. When you close one, you notice all the others. The ones that were always there, waiting. The ones you didn't walk through because you were too busy standing at the closed one, hoping it would open again. I'm walking through different doors now. Small doors, quiet doors, doors that lead to book clubs and watercolor classes and Tuesday morning coffee with Margaret. They're not glamorous. They won't make good Facebook posts. Nobody will celebrate them or envy them. But they're mine. And they're enough. Sarah made her choice when she bought that bracelet. When she posted about chosen family. When she looked at my simple life and decided it wasn't worthy of her presence. I made my choice when I said no. When I closed my notebook. When I turned off my phone. We both have to live with those choices now. Her with bankruptcy and a scaled-down life and the knowledge of what she destroyed. Me with watercolors and quiet and the peace of knowing I finally stood up for myself. Neither choice was perfect. Both have costs. But mine lets me sleep at night. Lets me look in the mirror without shame. Lets me exist in my small, simple life without apologizing for it. And that's worth more than $40,000. Worth more than a daughter who only calls when she needs something. Worth more than being needed by someone who doesn't want me. I thought loving her meant sacrificing everything, meant being there no matter what, meant accepting whatever crumbs of affection she offered and being grateful for them. I was wrong. Loving her, really loving her, meant teaching her that people have value, that mothers aren't infinite resources to be exploited, that consequences are real and necessary, and sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone fail. I loved her enough to say no. Loved her enough to let her fall. Loved her enough to close the door. That's the hardest kind of love. The kind that looks like cruelty from the outside. The kind that people don't understand unless they've lived it. But it's still love. Just not the kind that destroys the person giving it. Maybe someday Sarah will understand that. Maybe years from now, when her life is smaller and simpler and she's learned to value substance over image, she'll read that letter she sent me and understand why I never answered. Maybe she'll even thank me for it, but probably not. And that's okay too, because I'm not waiting anymore. Not for calls or apologies or understanding, not for her to finally see me, finally value me, finally choose me. I'm just living, painting watercolors, reading books, having coffee with friends, being enough. For me. Finally, blessedly, enough for me. The phone call I told you about at the beginning. Mom, I need $40,000 urgently. That was the moment everything crystallized. The moment I understood that chosen family works both ways. She chose them. I chose me. And we both have to live with that now. Some words, once spoken, can never be taken back. Some doors, once closed, stay closed forever. Some relationships, once broken, don't heal just because someone finally apologizes. That's not cruelty. That's just truth. And truth, I've learned, is the most freeing thing there is.